So I just shot an entire review of this show, but when I went to stop the audio, I learned that it wasn't even recording. Oh well, here we go again. A few days ago, I reviewed The Haunting of Hill House, and it was one of the greatest pieces of entertainment ever. Top tier out of any movie, show, anything, song, anything like that. One of the best I've ever seen. So obviously, I was very excited going into The Haunting of Bly Manor because Mike Flanagan is one of the best ever in horror, in my opinion, and my personal favorite that's still working today, and because some cast members were returning for this. And yes, that did leave me a little bit worried, and I will go into that in the video. And of course, spoiler warning as always, this came out last year on Netflix, and I finally checked it out this month, and I really enjoyed it. Right out of the gates, I should say that no, this is not as good as The Haunting of Hill House, and I will be doing a lot of comparing in this video. I apologize if someone is watching this video who worked on either of the shows. I really do apologize. I don't really know how you would come across this video, but it's just one of those things, you know, they're both the haunting of something created by Mike Flanagan, so I do think it's fair, although it is worth mentioning that Mike Flanagan did not direct every single episode here. He only directed the opening one, and that is felt throughout the show. I will say straight up in this review, that is felt throughout the show. There are definitely times where different visions kind of collide in different episodes. You know, the quality is a little bit all over the place, but for the most part, this was a very satisfying show, and as a follow-up to Hill House, I think it works really well. And as stated in the title, this is really a romance story. This definitely has horror elements, thriller elements, all of that with the ghosts and everything, and the lady in the lake, all that. But the central point of the story and what makes it so great is the romance here. Whether you're talking about the whole thing with Peter Quint and the old nanny, we'll call her, I just think that that works so well. But the best one is easily Danny and Jackie. Is that her name? Jamie. Oops. But obviously the best one and the most significant one is between Danny and Jamie, and they are wonderful together. Spoiler warning again for the second time, that's your second and final warning, but if you haven't seen this show, definitely click off, definitely watch it. But I think what makes the relationship so interesting is because it isn't like straight right away, it's like boom, we kiss and we're so on it, because in the episode, again, for those who have seen the show, you know how it happened. You know that Danny was talking about the whole thing with her ex, and that involved like the person with the lights that I'll talk about a little bit later in this review, and then obviously her and Jamie do kiss, and then it kind of leads to something, but then it stopped right away, and it doesn't really progress until I think the next episode, or maybe even one after that. And it isn't something that's not like, oh great, we're in love now. Like, no, it takes time, and the show builds on that, and that's what I think really works. I think just like Hill House, the best thing about the show is the characters, and the performances are outstanding. Everybody on the show is at the top of their game. Henry Thomas returns, and he's really great here. His character is very conflicted. There's some weird like Gollum Smeagol type stuff in some of the later episodes. I think it works well, and obviously the lead, Victoria Pedretti, or however you say her name, she played Nell in Hill House, and I was a little bit worried knowing that some of the cast members were coming back, but she was just phenomenal here. She was really great. I don't know what's in my eye. She had a lot of emotional moments. Obviously she has some stuff with her past and the trauma and all that, but also dealing with these children. When she's terrified, the audience feels terrified, and that's one of the biggest compliments I can give an actor, actress, whatever you want to say. I think that she was fantastic here. Everybody too, and even the kids. That's something, again, like I talked about in Hill House, those kids are some of the best ever. And when we look at Dr. Sleep, I mean, we look at the original, The Shining, the kid who played Danny there, one of the greatest child performances ever. And maybe it's just because I'm Canadian, but when the kids started talking and they were British and everything, I was like, uh-oh. It's just one of those things, but they were really great too, because they really nailed all their big moments, and there were definitely times where the writers were trying to get the kids on your nerves. I mean, one of the little girl, what's her name? God damn it. No. Flora says perfectly splendid a lot. And yes, this show, I wouldn't say is perfectly splendid, but there's a lot of really great things about it. Obviously, the son is really great here, and you really feel for the characters because early on we kind of explore more about them and some of the stuff that they're facing. And it's definitely obvious that the son is facing more than the daughter here. And then Owen, the chef here, is really great too. I know he's in Midnight Mass, and I haven't started that yet, but I'm going to start it probably tonight or tomorrow. I still don't know what is in my eye, but he's just really great here. He really stood out to me. I love him, and I follow him on Instagram now, and he just posts all the time, and I love it. And finally, Hannah Gross is she's like the housekeeper, you could kind of say, and she definitely gives one of the best performances here. She has some emotional stuff because out of all the lead characters, she's seen the most in the past and the present, and the film jumps between that. There's one episode that's like completely dedicated to the very past, and yeah, it throws you off a little bit, and seeing some familiar faces again from Hill House is a little bit different, but oh well. And finally, seeing Luke here from Hill House play Peter Quint was definitely one that threw me off the most, because seeing Victoria Pedretti, or however you say her name, play Danny here, yeah, that's her name, I keep forgetting. I always want to call her Nell, because that's just, when I see her, that's just what I think of, but her hair is different. Her hair is blonde in the show, whereas the guy who plays Luke, or Peter Quint, he looks basically the exact same, just more cleaned up. So it takes time to get used to, I will admit, but I will say the scares really work in the show. It's very different. It's not as demonic as something like Hill House, again with the comparisons, but it's more about the characters. And yes, Hill House is about the characters and their trauma, but this one is like the characters and the location and everything, and the dynamics and the connections. That's what I really, really love about the show. There are times when the show can feel a little bit dragged out, I will admit. I will say they probably could have cut one episode, because there were certain reveals, like the whole thing with the ex-boyfriend and the eyes and all that, which took like I think 4 or 5 episodes to really reveal, and I think if they revealed in episode 3 it would have worked better. And also, once it is revealed, it's kind of just totally forgotten about. It's kind of just thrown to the side, which is a little bit weird, and that happens with some of the things here, but this show definitely has some very unexpected twists and turns, and I could get into all of them in this video, but especially, you know, the big ones like with the Lady of the Lake. I think that reveal where when she, you know, drags you out there, like that one scene with Peter Quint where she kills him, but then he's still alive and he's there, and by the end they break the curse of Bly Manor and all that. Like, it's really great. It's kind of hard to explain. I think it works well for the most part. There are definitely problems with the show, but if you just like this type of horror and really romance, really rooting the story, I think you'll really enjoy the show. The Haunting of Bly Manor may be a step down from Hill House, but it still features many tense moments, incredible performances, and great twists and turns that really keep you engaged. I'm going to give The Haunting of Bly Manor a 4 out of 5. Again, it's on Netflix. It came out in 2020. I do highly recommend it if you're a fan of this type of stuff, or if you watch Hill House when it originally came out or whenever and you enjoyed that. It isn't a direct sequel. It's not connected or anything like that. Yes, some of the actors are the same, but they all play different roles. Next up will be Midnight Mass, when talking about Mike Flanagan. I'm really excited to watch it. I actually haven't started it yet. I've been dying to watch it for so long, but I've been so busy, so I'm probably going to watch an episode or 2. Depends on when this video gets out tonight. But have you seen Bly Manor? Please tell me what you think of it down below. What is your favorite Mike Flanagan show and movie, everything like that. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.